Geronimo!
In the repair shop today,
There's an awful lot of work to do just with the rigging. There are loads of bags of tiny components.
an unfinished passion project ties Will in knots.
You know, once this is finished, you should be able to lower the sails and raise them again. I'm determined this is going to look amazing and function as well.
And Richard works in miniature, mending a broken heart.
It's actually proved to be trickier than I thought. It's really got to lock in there absolutely perfectly. These tiny little hammer strokes are spreading the metal a fraction, and it's that fraction is all I need.
The barn's first arrival is Clint Yallop. He has a treasured link to the past, requiring the skills of bookbinder Kershaw.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh, good, thanks.
So, what's that book you've got there?
This is a notebook that belonged to my grandfather,
What was his name?
George Yallop.
And what did he put in the notebook?
It's mostly scientific facts, staining methods for bacteria and human tissues.
Oh, wow.
He was a pathological technician back in the 20s, right through his whole life.
That sounds important. I've never heard of Right, in layman's terms, what does that do?
He worked in the pathological department of the Royal London Hospital. So he was examining parts of human bodies, effectively, under a microscope.
So understanding the organs, how they work and stuff, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. The study of disease, identifying causes of death.
That must have been quite cutting edge 100 years ago, so the 1920s. Thinking penicillin hasn't been discovered yet. It's really...
It is remarkable, yeah.
It is remarkable. So what kind of notes did he write?
So it contains methods that he would have used, but he has put comments underneath, things that went well, things that didn't go so well, so it is slightly personalised in that respect. But he was obviously very methodical and organised. I will say his handwriting is far better than mine will ever be. I wasn't lucky enough to get to know him that well.
Yeah.
I was the age of about 14 when he died. I always found him, he was a very intriguing character. Very welcoming, very warm, very friendly, and visits to his house in Billericay. As soon as we left, the thing I can remember is wanting to, when we're going back, Dad, when are we going back?
Yeah, nice.
But looking through the pages, because it's all handwritten, you get little nuances from a day he might have written something slightly differently or in a hurry. Some of the pages he's written are upside down, so he's grabbed it quickly to write something in there.
So what's prompted you to bring this book in?
I've recently started studying plant science and horticulture. I attended one lecture where we conducted an experiment using some staining techniques to look at bacteria and also plant tissue under a microscope.
Yeah.
And when I got back home, something niggled me at the back of my head. Go and get this little book down. Literally opened it up virtually on a page with an identical technique we'd used that day for staining.
No way.
Cells. Yeah, it was close. It was a spine-tingling moment, yeah.
How long ago was it that he wrote in the book?
Well, that was the other thing, because I went back to the beginning of the cover.
Yeah.
And he's written his name, and underneath it, the year 1922. And it took about 3 seconds to realise that's exactly 100 years ago.
Yeah. So what's actually wrong with the notebook then?
It's quite fragile. The spine seems to be detaching, and there are pages starting to work loose.
Okay.
And I don't like to keep...
Opening it?
Yeah. So it'd be good to have it restored to a condition where it could be put in the bookshelf in the study and pulled out when I feel my grandfather might be wanting to prod me or poke me with some ideas that might be of use.
Yeah. Clint, thank you for bringing this in. Chris, you ready for this one?
I am. It's going to be interesting.
Will you take care, Clint?
Thank you.
All right? Bye-bye.
Never had a scientific notebook, so I'm totally fascinated. so organised. George has page numbered every single page. And look, prescription for stains. The only stains I know are the ones the children and the dog leave around the house. The fact that they're page numbers is going to make it a lot easier because it does need sewing. It has seen a life. I have noticed there's a slight damage to the board, so I'm going to try and separate the text block from the outer cover. Wow, and that was held on by a thread. I'm just slightly concerned now looking at it. This front board is completely cracked. I didn't quite appreciate that. So it does pose a slight problem because it's got George's signature on. So it's important to keep this, and this is the important board. But first thing is I'm going to take the tape off. Oh, joy. He was organised. Hidden underneath the sellotape is a number 8. So on the shelf, it would be probably notebook number 8. You just wonder how many notebooks he had. So I'm going to keep that and then remount it at the end. Might be able to get rid of the stains, but at the same time, it's quite nice having all the battle scars of its life on show. I could actually wipe all traces away, but it sort of takes away the character of the book.
Next to arrive at the barn is Matt Goddard, who's hoping an unfinished labour of love can be completed by wood wizard Will Kirk.
Hi.
Welcome to the barn. Nice to meet you, Matt.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Will.
That's a lovely looking boat.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, isn't it? It's a scale model of the Claramate trading merchant ship. And my dad actually started to build this beautiful model. He really had an affinity with the sea, and it was always something that interested him. And that coupled really nicely with his passion for the arts and crafts as well.
Was this flat pack, or did it already come in that shape and you sort of add different bits on it?
It's built completely from scratch.
Really?
So, yeah, there's a lot of very intricate layers of beams and woodwork, and I think it's made to be built exactly how the original would have been built.
That's amazing. That must have taken him a long time.
Yeah, it took him a good few years, I think, to just get to this point. You can see sort of all of the various little details on the deck here. He actually converted the garden shed at the bottom of our family home into a little workshop for this ship.
Oh, cool.
And I remember me and my brother, actually, when we were 8 or 9 years old, we used to run to the bottom of the garden and we were trying to play with the ship, and I don't think that went down too well. So, yeah, so you might see a couple of little finger marks under there somewhere.
It almost looks like your dad wasn't too far off from finishing the ship.
He got halfway through building this, and then, unfortunately, he passed away before he was able to finish it.
Oh, gosh, I'm really sorry to hear that.
My dad passed away in 2009. He was fairly young when he passed away. He was 44, and me, my brother and sister were quite young at the time. I think for my siblings as well, it took a while for us to come to terms with the fact that our dad had passed away at such a young age, and when we were at such a young age as well. It's particularly difficult because I think, me personally, I would have always loved to have an adult relationship with my dad, and I feel that is a huge tragedy, really. But we've got some really great memories of my dad, and this is one of them. Yeah, I just used to admire this a huge amount when I was younger, and now, having grown up and thinking I could give it a crack myself, I opened the instruction booklet, and after 5 minutes I was like, no, no chance. So I've got a new level of respect for his level of talent and craftsmanship.
And patience,
And patience as well, yeah, 100%. And I thought it would be really lovely if we each have the ship for a year, and then at Christmas time, the next person hands the ship over to the other siblings. You know, essentially it'll become a family heirloom.
I think that's a lovely idea and a really great reason to have it fixed. I can see this means a lot to you and your siblings as well, and I don't blame you for not putting it together yourself. It'd be an honour to finish off your dad's work.
We'd all be forever grateful if you could do that.
I'll see you very soon.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thanks, bye.
I'm having a look at the manuals. On one of them, I have a template for the sails. Another one, various numbers, which I think match up with the sort of pieces on the inside of the boxes. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. There are loads of bags of tiny components. I think there's some brass rings on the inside there. I think that could be for the rigging. There are some sails also, but the metal pins that have been used to keep their form have actually rusted. So the sails need to be changed. I don't think I can do it myself, so I might reach out to Amanda to see if she can lend a hand. There's an awful lot of work to do just with the rigging, but I've got to work out where the rigging starts. It seems quite confusing, but hopefully I've got all these instructions here. I should be able to see where it all begins.
It's also a numbers game for Chris as he prepares to sew pages of the science notebook back together.
I've measured out the amount of thread that I need, so then I don't have to do a knot halfway through, so it's a continuous piece of thread that I'll be using. And I'm going to use the existing holes, so I don't have to perforate anything more than I actually need to. So on the two sections, the front and back sections, I'll be catching it up. So in bookbinding terms, this is sewing all along, and then the stitch at the end and the bottom is a kettle stitch. And it creates this little loop, and it forms a nice little knot. It's very unusual for me to be working on something that's considering it's 100 years old, is in remarkable condition. The writing is so crystal clear. Oh, my goodness, for operative surgery when the body should be softer. Oh, my goodness. I really do get into the books. I'd say this is amongst the oddest. I've never really done anything scientific that I've actually understood. And normally I'll be a 5-minute expert, but I don't think I could be a 5-minute expert on body dissection and marrow sections and blood cells. I could spend all my time sort of looking through, but I need to crack on. There. It's all finished. Next, I'm going to start making the new covers. This board, unfortunately, is completely broken. So I am going to give it a new board, but I'm going to lift George Yallop's very nice signature and his date. It's just very important I keep absolutely everything. Every binder will have a different technique of lifting spines and paper, and I find the one that works with me is a very large scalpel. I'm angling it obviously more towards the board. I'd rather take the board up than go through the paper. It's not a 2-second job. It's going to take a bit of time to actually get it off correctly.
Hey, Amanda. I could really do with some help. I need to replace the sails for Matt's model ship.
Ah, right, OK. Would you like me to do them for you?
Yes, please. That's the only way it's going to look lovely.
No, not a problem. I'll do that for you.
Thanks a lot, Amanda.
That has gone on really well. And now I'm going to give it a press. So that's one board stuck. I'll just leave it in there for a little while. I'm really happy. It still looks nice and old. All the main damage of the broken board is now sort of, there's a slight crease, but it feels fantastic. The last thing I've got to do is these little fragments of spine. I'm just going to position this and then put all the other fragments back on, and then I'm going to give it a damn good pressing. The next thing I've got to do is reattach the textbook back into the case. So it'll be one whole notebook. And then I've got a little surprise. I'm going to make a box to preserve it for Clint in the future. And I'm quite excited about that.
The next restoration project is one for goldsmith Richard Talman.
I've got a lovely little locket for you. You can manage that, can't you?
Let's hope so.
All right, cool.
Sarah Kershaw has brought some jaded jewellery on behalf of her mum.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right, thank you.
So you've got a locket?
I have.
Wow, that is small.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad bought it for my mum when they got engaged in '62. And presumably because it got broken. She hasn't worn it for years. And after he passed away 2.5 years ago,
okay.
I found it. Yeah. She said, oh, Dad got me that when we got engaged.
Yeah.
And started talking about it.
Yeah.
And she was, oh, I'd love to be able to wear it again.
Right.
And then we discovered just how broken it was. So I couldn't just put it on a chain for her. So that's why I'm here.
Do you know roughly when it broke?
No, I didn't know anything about it. It was the trigger for us talking about Dad with Mum before me and my brother came along. So it's been really nice, actually. A few tears,
yeah,
but it was really lovely.
What was Dad's name?
John.
And Mum's name?
Brenda.
So where did they meet?
Both of them came to London for work.
Okay.
And they met at a dance. Mum could really dance. She
okay.
could jive.
She could jive?
Yeah, she really could.
Jive's quite hard.
Yeah, yeah. She just loved to dance. They both just loved music, so...
What was Dad like? What kind of man was he? Look at you smiling all over, eh?
He was very easygoing.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever raised his voice at me and my brother.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
And we weren't angels, so,
yeah.
you know. He was very funny.
Yeah?
Just very funny. Always telling funny stories or joking around, making Mum laugh, because he became her carer when she became ill.
And what was wrong with Mum? You said he cared for her.
She had 2 strokes. She's done so well because Dad took such good care of her at the beginning. He'd always been just the one that got on with everything.
Yeah.
He was never about him, so I miss him very much.
Yeah. Mum must miss him as well. No?
Yes, she says goodnight to his photograph every night and gives it a kiss. And because this is the only thing that has that tangible, touch-it connection to Dad,
yeah,
it's just become really important.
May I have a look?
Yeah. The hinge is very
Oh, yeah,
poor.
that is particularly fragile, isn't it? And, yeah, we're missing
Missing a frame.
missing another frame.
I would love to put a photograph of Mum in there.
Do you have a picture that we could put inside there as well?
I do. I think it's taken around the same time as the photograph of Dad. It's of Mum and Dad together at a dinner dance.
That is very clear. Oh, that'll go in perfectly.
We know what we've got to do then.
Absolutely.
It's a family heirloom, that is.
That's what we'd like it to be. This is the one thing that we can touch and hold and remember that Dad chose it and Dad bought it.
Well, it's a real honour for us to have this
Thank
here.
you.
I'll do my very best for you.
Thank you very much.
You take care now.
Safe journey.
That's an old school picture, isn't it? I'll get this picture reduced so she can keep the original.
Absolutely.
And then we can get Mum in there.
We've got a plan.
Yeah?
I'll take care of the metalwork, you take care of the paperwork.
That's what I like to wear.
There is quite a few things that's wrong with this that I really want to address. The item is very heavily tarnished, so that's going to need to polish up. We need to make another heart-shaped frame to go into the other side because that's been lost over the years. It's going to be quite a delicate operation because if I make it ever so slightly too small, it's completely useless. Another thing is there should be a bail on top here, and that's where the chain runs through. And because this means so much to Sarah, I really want to make a really pretty and ornate bail. But first of all, the hinge on the locket has come apart. Now, the hinge is like 3 little cylinders of metal. 2 is joined to one side, 1 to the other, and then a pin goes up the way through the middle. Now, the pin is most likely going to have worn over the years, and that's caused it to come loose. So, the very first thing I'm going to do is just take a measurement of that pin. So what I'm going to need to do is take a piece of metal that's ever so slightly bigger than that, ever so slightly thicker, and push that in, and then that will hold it really tightly and secure. There you go. And that hinge, no movement in that whatsoever up and down, which means that that locks beautifully.
Will's still trying to unlock the mysteries of the ship's complex rigging, but there has been progress.
Amanda has really helped me out. She's done a great job with all of these sails, and it just shows how technical this ship is. The first thing I'm going to do is to get a thin layer of varnish on the ship. I've decided to varnish this now because when the masts are on and the sails are up, there'll be limited access to polishing up the decks. I'm applying a really thin coat of shellac polish. This is going to really bring out that lovely colour in the wood. I'm going to make my way around the rest of the ship. And once the varnish is dried, I can rebuild the rest of the ship. This is really fiddly work. I'm used to working with larger tools, hammers and chisels and things, but for this, I'm actually using tweezers. Almost feels like keyhole surgery, because if I accidentally snip one of these, I'm gonna have to start again. This is a very small model of what the ship would actually look like, so everything has a place and needs to be perfect. I really want this to almost function like a miniature ship. You know, once this is finished, you should be able to lower the sails and raise them again. I'm determined this is going to look amazing and function as well. Well, I'm 2 sails down. I'm going to get this 3rd one on now. And this is probably the biggest sail on the ship. So it's going to look quite the part when it goes on. I can see why it would be a labour of love. Working on something like this in your shed on the weekends, you'll pop in and you'll do a bit and a bit more and a bit more. And as the weeks go on, you can see this ship come alive. I'd really like to get this looking wonderful for Matt, so he can put it on this mantelpiece and remember his dad.
On the final straight of his project, Chris is going the extra mile to keep the notebook safe.
It fits like a dream in the little box I've made. I've been having a bit of fun because marble paper looks like things under a microscope. That's why I've covered it in this. So it all ties in really nicely. By presenting it back to Clint in a box, I know that the book's safe, any knocks, any damage is going to go onto the box, and that's what it's there for, so the book will survive. And I'm now just going to finely tool George Yallop's notebook on the slipcase. Again, just a nice little touch. It's a very straightforward process. It's just an alphabet of brass letters that I'm going to heat up on the stove and transfer the gold foil onto the cloth. While using foil, you can't actually see what's happening until right at the end. Now it's the moment of truth. Let's see if it's all worked. I'm very happy with that, and I can't wait for Clint to be surprised with all the things that I've done. Ooh.
Before it could be leafed through again, this tattered scientific notebook was in need of careful dissection.
What you got there?
Just a little extra.
Now Clint has returned to collect his heirloom, which connects him to his grandfather.
There he is.
Hello.
How you doing, Clint? You
Hi
all right?
again. Thanks, yeah, good, thanks.
So what are you expecting to see?
Something in slightly better condition than when I passed it over to you, really. I want to be able to scan it from end to end, really, without worrying about pages falling out.
Okay. Ready?
Shall I do the honours?
Yes, please.
Wow. Oh, look at that. That is amazing. It's stiffened up the cover as well. That's a beautiful piece of work. Really amazing. It just looks like a book now. It looked like a collection of loose sheets before.
Yeah.
My granddad would be so impressed with this. Oh, to be able to know that if I do get stuck on anything in the future,
Yeah.
I can swing round, go through it, and know that my granddad's looking over me, maybe,
Yeah.
giving me a nudge. It is a real connection. It's marvellous. Thank you very much.
I have, Clint, made you something a little extra. Because it's quite vulnerable, I've made you a little box to house it
No
in.
way. Oh, look at that. George Yallop's notebook. Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. That is brilliant. Now it will stand out on the shelf. There you go, Grandad.
Oh.
You happy?
Very.
So now you can take it home. Whenever you need that inspiration, you just look behind you.
That's it. He'll be
All right?
there.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you very much. It's been
Okay.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well done.
Thank you.
It's the little things that matter, isn't it?
It is.
Hey?
Seeing the notebook now is a perfect tribute to my granddad, George. The book will take pride of place on my bookshelf in my study, and it will be fantastic to know that he will be over my shoulder when I need to get that extra bit of inspiration.
Richard is about to tackle crafting the tiny inner frame that was missing from the engagement locket.
So I've got a piece of 1mm round wire. I'm going to cut this piece of metal closer to the length I'm going to need. And now I've got to make that into the shape of a heart. Now, very first thing I'm going to need to do is create the angle at the bottom. And then from there, just bend it up. But this point here now is a really, really weak spot because it's practically held on by a thread of silver. So I now need to solder that together. So the solder I'm using is actually a silver solder. They're made by taking a piece of the actual metal and then adding a tiny, tiny little amount of a lower melting temperature metal. This means that when I apply heat to it, the solder will flow in very, very quickly into the gap. Now I just need to quench that, and that's soldered the gap strong. Now what I need to do is just slowly bend either of the portions up into the crest of either side of the heart. When it gets to the correct size, I just cut in the middle and do another one of those joins again, making sure that it's perfect. So I need to cut those off. Once that's done, it's going to be a matter of a little bit of hammering, filing and sandpapering to get it to fit neatly into the locket. Just going to hold the crest there in my pliers. There you go. It's actually proved to be trickier than I thought. It's really got to lock in there absolutely perfectly. It looks like I'm not actually even doing anything, but these tiny little hammer strokes are spreading the metal a fraction, and it's that fraction is all I need. Now, that's locked in there. The ultimate test is going to be, does it stay there? Yep. That is exactly the sort of fit I was after. I'm really satisfied that that's going to keep the photo in perfectly. It's now important for me to make a bail for it, because without that, I'm not going to be able to make this hang on a chain. So, first thing I'm going to do, just to bend up a little U shape. The reason why it's quite thick at the moment is because I want to be able to file this into a sort of mini heart to reflect the shape of the locket. Just filing off the edges a little. And there you can see, that's starting to take shape. I'm now just using a coarse grade of sandpaper to remove the file marks. And it's quite lovely when doing any sort of work like this to see that just such a minor amount of work actually just makes it more aesthetically pleasing. So now I've got the bail in perfect shape. I need to spend a little bit more time sandpapering it, giving it a nice clean up, then just got to affix the bar before I can attach it back to the locket, and then it's pretty much going to be ready for the final polishing.
Well, there we are, the final sale, and I have finally finished. I have learnt so much about rigging. I am convinced that I could probably build a full-scale ship myself. At the top of the ship would be this red flag here. I've been looking at this in the box since I started, and I thought I'm going to save this right until the end. And finally, the time has come to stick it on. There we have it. The flag is on. Look at that. Wonderful. Right, time to get this ship sailing back to Matt.
Matt's dad passed away before completing the model ship, when Matt was just a teenager.
There's a lot of detail in there, isn't it?
A lot of detail, Jay.
And a lot of work.
One of my trickiest jobs, actually. But I think it looks great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ah, yes. Wow.
Sorted.
Okay.
Now he's back, hoping he can share the relaunched ship with his siblings.
Hey, Matt.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. So how you feeling?
It's just I've got butterflies in my stomach at the moment, so yeah, just dying to see it, really.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Really good feeling. You okay?
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to see this. It's all over to you.
Would you like to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Oh my God. It just looks amazing. Thank you so much. Look at the detail. Thanks so much. That's it looks incredible. Thank you. I can't. Do you know what? I wish my brother and sister were here right now because I just love to share this moment with them, and I can't wait to bring it home and show them. Yeah.
Your dad did a great job at starting off the foundations. I've just finished the work that your dad had only begun, so.
He would be so tickled, I think, if he knew that I'd taken it here and it was completed. And for me, I just can't get over how fantastic it looks. It surpasses all my expectations. Like, it's just magnificent.
I can see that you're shaking still.
I just like, yeah.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's a lot, isn't it?
I think it's just because we don't have that much, so it does mean a lot to me. And I think the tradition of handing it over at Christmas as well, I think it'd just be a really nice thing for us to share, and it'll be a kind of like little ritual on Christmas Day that we can do, which would be
I think that's perfect.
really nice.
Yeah, it's really lovely. Just be very careful because it's
Yeah.
So it's over to you.
Okay, thank you again.
I'll get the door for you.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thanks, Will. Cheers.
Thank
Jay.
you. All
Thanks,
right.
Jay.
No problem. There's a happy sailor there, isn't it?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Aye, aye. Well done.
When I saw the ship for the first time, quite honestly, it took my breath away. It's something that whenever I see it, it will remind me of a lot of good memories that I shared with my dad, and I think my brother and my sister will feel exactly the same as well.
How you doing, Rich?
All good, thank you, Jay. Nearly there.
I've got that picture resized for Sarah's mum's locket. I think it's going to be a perfect fit. Let me know.
Check. Thank you. Look at that, spot on.
Perfect. I'll get the stuff ready. She can be here soon.
And I'll get this finished.
That's what I like to wear.
To have both of them next to each other in the locket, I guess is it's just going to be a perfect tribute to Sarah's mum and dad. It's a real honour in our job to be able to do pieces like this. So there you go. 2 photos are in. Sarah's mother and father reunited again. Last thing to do now is to put the chain on, and this will be a beautiful family heirloom to treasure forever.
When it arrived at the barn, this silver pendant couldn't be worn, nor hold the photographs it was designed to treasure.
Rich, you ready?
I am.
Come on, Anne.
What do you think?
Whoa, that's special. All right, let's get it covered up.
Now Sarah's returned to collect her mum's locket, gifted by a loving husband.
There she is. Hello. How you doing?
Hello, I'm all right, thank you.
Hi, Sarah. Welcome
Hi.
back.
How you feeling?
Good, excited.
How's mum?
She's good. She's just overwhelmed that somebody would fix it for her and that she's going to be able to open it and look at it and see Dad's photograph in there. It will just be lovely for her to have.
We should show her, innit?
Are you ready?
Yes. Oh, wow. So shiny. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. It just looks like it must have looked the day that Dad chose it for Mum.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is amazing to have both of them in there. That's really lovely, thank you. And it closes properly and opens without falling apart and everything. Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much. I don't know how you did it. There isn't anything else that symbolised them as a couple. And this really does. And Mum can have a look at it and see it. She'll just be so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of an extra treat for her here. So these are magnetic clasps.
Oh, wow.
So you can pop it around your neck and
Oh,
it
that's
just
amazing.
joins.
So she'll definitely be able to wear it. That's fantastic.
Give it a try.
Thank you.
Does look smart though.
Lovely. Oh, thank you. That feels really special to have it on. To have both Mum and Dad in there, but especially Dad, because I miss him so much, is really lovely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, let's not hold you back any longer.
Let's not.
Go and
Take
show
it home
Mum.
to her. Thank you so much.
Tell her we said hello as well.
I will. Take care.
You take care
Take
now.
care,
Bye-bye.
Sarah.
Okay,
Safe
bye-bye.
journey home.
Thank you.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Hey?
To see the locket so shiny and so complete is wonderful. I can just see Mum sitting there. She's just going to be so astonished at what condition it's in. So if there are any tears, I'm sure there'll be happy tears. It must have been a long time since she saw the locket looking so good.